As you can see. Hi, Heather. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Climate change is obviously like one of the most important things facing us today, and I think we need to stop it, obviously, or else we're screwed.
Yeah, in a nutshell, is there anything that you're doing on a personal level to help make your life more green?
Well, I switched to a renewable energy provider. Like I drive a hybrid car. Educating myself. I just started a garden, recycling, not using as much electricity, turning things off.
Can you possibly explain what I'm looking at?
These are survivables, which are corporate America's solution to climate change.
Well, it's a self-sustaining living device in which a corporate CEO can be maintained no matter what the climate calamity hits.
And what about for the rest of us?
Well, even if all of you die, CEOs will go on living in these.
It's great. I'm peeing inside mine right now and drinking it.
So while all this madness was going on in New York, as if that wasn't enough, all the other countries, all the other 62 countries around the world were gearing up for their own premiere.
Iedereen kan afgedankte...
Klimaatfilm The Age of Stupid gaat vanavond wereldwijd in premiere.
Problemet på dagsordenen og ligesom gør det sådan, så man virkelig kan mærke indvendigt, at det her det handler.
Un llamado de atención muy serio, la película esta de hecho lo es, lo dice de una manera muy cruda, muy dramática.
Vreau să ai și vedem Hapia.
Age of Stupid, care au fost extraordinari și...
In Thailand, we've got a TV screening to 4.5 million homes.
Pete Postlethwaite, the star of the film, he was going to come to New York to be there with us, but then for personal reasons he couldn't in the end. But all around the world, the documentary stars of the film were actually watching. Fernand was in his local cinema in Chamonix in France. Laefa was in Lagos in Nigeria. Al, he was actually with us in New York because he's from New Orleans. And Piers, he's seen the film a few times, so he didn't actually go, but we did speak to him on the phone. He was in Denmark.
We've got a rooftop in Dar es Salaam for 30 people. Okay, cool.
The only sad thing was that we really tried to find the Iraqi kids who the last time we'd seen them were in Amman, but the contacts we had in Amman, they went back to their house and to other places, the market and stuff, and couldn't find them. So it's pretty worrying that we don't know where they are.
Who's a long-term Greenpeace supporter, runs a well-known cinema and arts centre.
Okay, so Romania. Cool, that sounds good. We don't have much information for Kosovo. Palestinian territories. Do we have more information about Papua New Guinea? Peru, that's cinema screens. Swaziland, what's happening there? Sierra Leone, that sounds good. Singapore. Okay, I'll add the information about that. So the guy from Jordan has gone to Beirut to pick up the DVD from the Lebanon contact. Taiwan looks really good, wow. Zimbabwe sold out. And all the money goes towards tree seeds.
After the film played, there was a live event in New York featuring all sorts of speakers, and all of what they said had to be translated into French, German, Italian and Spanish, ready to be rebroadcast a couple of hours later as each time zone caught up. And in true Stupid style, this was the first time anyone had ever done this kind of nearly live translating.
And they had experienced technical difficulties, so we received the footage a little late, which meant my subtitling teams got started late and were frantically translating onto HD tapes that would be broadcast via satellite that evening. Everything looked okay up until about midday when the first tapes were due to be ready and they weren't, and we discovered some time code and sync problems. So I got on a train eventually to Winchester, which is where the broadcast would be going out from. And I arrived approximately 10 minutes before the broadcast started. And France, Spain and Germany arrived within 5 minutes of needing to be broadcast across Europe, one of them within less than a minute.
A lot of people say to us that our film is exaggerated and this is not the actual science of climate change. So I'd love to ask you, is our film scientifically accurate or did we make the whole thing up?
It's entirely correct that the world has to ensure that if we want to limit temperature increase to 2 to 2.4 degrees Celsius, we have to ensure that global emissions peak no later than 2015. And that's entirely correct. And I think it's also important to talk about basic lifestyles. I don't think we can duck under the sand any longer and tell ourselves that what we've been pursuing as what we call development is going to continue forever. It can't continue forever.
I'm very proud to be here to represent our 5 million members who deeply believe that our country's age of stupid ended in November 2008. And we are working. Our members work on a daily basis to lobby our Congress and to empower our new president, President Obama, to know that he has the political winds at his back when he goes to Copenhagen, because they believe in his vision that this is not just a moral and an environmental call, but this is actually the end of the false dichotomy between economy and environment.
This is a real war. It's a threat to our health, threat to our economic and social development. It can create tensions. It's a threat to clean drinking water for lots of people, and so it is a very, very different kind of problem, perhaps the biggest challenge we face in our world today. This is an issue of concern to everyone. We all need to have our voices heard. We should send the message out to the leaders that we want to protect this planet. We should have such a shout that they cannot afford to ignore it.
The highlight of our UK premiere had undoubtedly been when we did a live link-up to the Maldives, and the President had made a major policy announcement. So when we heard that he was in town in New York, we thought we should invite him to the global premiere and give him a special present. May I just please present you with this certificate for being the first country in the world to commit to going carbon neutral, and you're going to do it in 10 years' time. They're going to go completely carbon neutral. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'd been speaking to my friend who works at Greenpeace, and he happened to mention that they've got a lot of satellite equipment in their boats or whatever. And so, which is red rag to a bull, of course, to mention that to me. And so the Greenpeace India team found themselves hiking up into the Himalayan glaciers. They were supposed to actually get a Jeep, but the late monsoon washed out the road, so they had to hike with their satellite gear in their backpacks with the director of Elizabeth, well-known film director Shekhar Kapoor. Not quite sure how he got involved, but he was absolutely brilliant, as you're about to see.
Shekhar, can you hear me?
On my left here is a glacier that you can see. We're looking at the Lahaul Valley, and right down there where you see the valley used to be a complete glacier. It's all retreated, it's gone right back here. We can't see it anymore. And this is happening to all the Himalayan glaciers all over the Himalayas now. You have to remember that the Himalayan glaciers, they feed all the rivers that go to China, they go to India, they go to Pakistan, and they provide sustenance and water to 1.3 billion people. And if these glaciers, and the Himalayan glaciers, are going down and they're retreating faster than any other glacier in this, any other glaciers all over the world, and as they go, they're saying that in about 25 to 30 years, they may not exist anymore. If they don't exist, we've got 1.3 billion people that will be without water. And if they're without water and ground levels are already going down, these people will start moving to cities. And if they start moving to cities, the cities will run out of water. And we are standing at the brink of an absolute catastrophe that we've never seen. So we are here actually begging, asking, pleading for people, please do something about it. Thank you. Over back to New York.
Meanwhile, a second Greenpeace team was battling their way through an Indonesian rainforest. And we'd done a test earlier in the day, and the satellite worked brilliantly, it all looked great. But then when it came to the actual event, there was some problem in the Arctic, because I think the satellite was going to bounce from their rucksacks, from their gear in the Indonesia to the Greenpeace boat in the Arctic, up into space, and then down to us in New York. That was the plan, I think. But there was some problem in the Arctic, so that didn't work. So they took the decision to use Skype, everybody's favourite, which is why the quality looked a bit rough. But we could still get the central point, which is it's absolutely crucial to get forests into the New Deal at Copenhagen.
Deforestation rate in Indonesia is 2 million hectares per year, and it contributes to 63% of our carbon emissions.
Ed Miliband. I got a text during the live event as all this was going on from Ed Miliband's team saying that the world leaders' dinner had actually finished early. You know, did they have nothing to talk about? Anyway, so Ed said that he could now come. A bit of an awkward moment when we had to tell the satellite truck that had come from Boston that they were no longer required. But anyway, Ed rocked up.